I have a question for you. If you treated your partner the way that you are currently treating money, would that relationship survive? In this video, we're going to be talking about money in a different way. I'm going to show you how your relationship to money is so closely intertwined to your relationship with love and your relationship to yourself. Hi friends, welcome back to Money Breath Magic. I'm Sue Ellen, I'm a CPA, and I'm also a somatic and breathwork facilitator and a Reiki practitioner. We look at the strategy, we look at the mindset and the nervous system because all three pieces are key to manifesting, creating, and holding the amount of wealth that you desire in your business and in your life. So today is part one of a 4-part series that I have planned for you. And this is going to be short, quick hitter episodes to get you thinking and starting to heal your relationship that you have with money. I've already recorded a long video that deep dives into what the relationship with money actually looks like. I'll link that in the description below so you can go check that out. But these 4 videos are going to help give you actionable steps that you can start doing today to start shifting your relationship with money. That is therefore going to help you create more of it and better yet, hold more money in your life. So let's go back to that first question that I asked you at the start of the video. If you were in a relationship with your partner and you were treating them the same way that you treat money today, would that relationship survive? Think about the attachment styles in love. You have the avoidant, you have the secure, you have the anxious, and then you have the fearful. Those are the 4 attachment styles that are commonly talked about how we relate to romantic partnerships. These attachment styles show up in the way that we actually interact with money. And this was so transformative for me when I learned about this and started reframing the way that I had a relationship to money in the same way that I would have a relationship with a partner. It completely transformed my financial reality because I started to actually understand how it works. Money is simply energy. It is a neutral resource. It doesn't have feelings or emotions. It doesn't pick favorites. It is just responding to our relationship with it. And that shows up in very practical ways. If you don't trust yourself with money, you might avoid looking at your numbers. If you don't value yourself, you might underprice your services. If you don't believe in yourself and believe in your capability to create more money, you might not launch new offers or services. If you are afraid of losing money, you might hoard it. You might resist to investing in yourself and your business and actually spending it. So if we think about these attachment styles, if we're being avoidant or anxious or fearful, needy, that is exactly what we're going to get back from money. So let's dive into this just a little bit deeper. So I want you to think about this. Think that you're in a relationship with somebody and they ignore your texts, they avoid you, they aren't grateful when you give them some sort of gift or surprise, they aren't showing appreciation to you, they only come to you when they're in a crisis. Do you want to be in a relationship with that person? How would that feel? What if they constantly questioned you? Are you going to leave? When are you going to leave? You're not doing enough. Are you going to show up for me? Can I really count on you? I don't trust you. Would you want to be in a relationship with that person? I think the answer is no. I think there would be tension. You'd probably be walking around on eggshells. You probably wouldn't want to show up and give them anything if they're not going to appreciate it. And now let's flip it. What if someone completely adored you, but they were so terrified that they were going to lose you, that they were clinging on to you, they weren't let you out of their sight, they were hoarding you, keeping you all to themselves? That doesn't feel healthy either. Would you want to be in that kind of relationship? I think not. That feels anxious. You would feel overwhelmed. You would feel suffocated, that you couldn't breathe. That wouldn't be a healthy relationship either. So now let's bring this back to money. What if this relationship that we're talking about was your relationship with money? How would money feel being in relationship with you? Probably the same way. Some people only look at their bank account when they're in a crisis. Some people are constantly telling money, you're not enough. When are you going to grow? You're not doing enough for me. Some people are not grateful at all for the money that they receive in their life Whether it's $1, $5, $10,000, $20,000, it's still not enough. When are you going to be more? When are you going to grow for me? Some people resent money because they think that they can't achieve the level of money that wealthy people have, or that wealthy people are all bad people. Some people obsess over it. They cling to it. They hoard it because they're terrified. They're living in fear that it's going to disappear. Some people say that they want money, but actually feel guilty and shameful when they receive it, because they don't actually feel like they deserve it. None of this is a numbers issue. None of this has to do with how much money you have or how little money that you have. It's all a relationship that you have with money. We need to have a healthy relationship with money, just as we would have with our partner, because money is neutral. It's just how we relate to money that dictates whether money stays with us or leaves. We are the ones who set the emotional tone of the relationship. So by us having an unhealthy relationship with money, that dictates how money is going to respond to us. If we think about the law of attraction, we attract our predominant vibration. So we attract our predominant beliefs, feelings, and emotions that we are carrying. And that's why this conversation is so important, because the way that we show up in the relationship with money is what we get back into our reality. So if we want to create more abundance and more wealth and more prosperity and fulfillment in our life, we need to heal this relationship with money. So as we get further into this video, I just want you to reflect on, what does my current relationship with money look like? So let's take this a little bit deeper and one step further. Money is actually directly related to your self-worth and your self-concept. This is a kind of a hard one to swallow sometimes. Really, it's taking complete accountability for our own external reality. As within, so without. Money is just an energy. And so the way that we feel internally, our predominant thoughts, beliefs, actions, our self-concept is what we are experiencing in our external reality. And so money is simply just responding to what is within us. And so if we don't have any sort of self-worth, if we don't believe in ourselves, if we don't value ourselves, if we don't trust ourselves, that is what is going to be experienced in our reality. So the number one thing that you need to do if you do not believe in yourself, if you do not have self-worth, is to go inward and start working on that. What's interesting is you see when people start working on their self-worth, they start valuing themselves, they start believing in themselves, they start seeing themselves as someone who is worthy of greater abundance in their life. They start manifesting and attracting more abundance, more wealth, more prosperity into their life, all from their self-concept. We don't need to go from this forceful energy of hustle, 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 I'm trying to make money. Start from within. Start valuing yourself. Start seeing yourself as worthy. And then you therefore start taking actions as someone who values themselves. If you don't value your work and yourself and the things that you bring into this world and the transformation that it offers, you are not going to receive the money, the abundance back for that, because you will underprice your services. If you don't believe in yourself, you're not going to launch the offer. You're not going to put yourself out there. You're not going to endure the wobbles, as one of my coaches like to say it, the wobbles through. But if you believe in yourself, you believe in your knowledge, you believe in your expertise and what you have to offer in the world, you will start taking actions from that place. And money will respond directly to that internal belief and the actions that you are taking. If you don't have self-worth to think that you actually deserve expensive things in lives, do you actually believe that you are worthy of those things? And maybe luxuries aren't important to you, but there's something that you value in your life. Maybe it's vacations, maybe splurging on like a nice hotel or a first class trip, or even like fancy coffee or something that you value in your life. Do you find yourself not valuing yourself enough to say that I deserve to buy this? On the flip side, if you are constantly overspending, are you actually seeking some sort of external validation because your self-worth and your self-concept isn't able to validate yourself from within? And this is where it gets uncomfortable for people, because it's so much easier to just blame external circumstances for why we aren't where we are wanting to be with our money. But if we actually look within, it's just a reflection of our internal state. There's the philosophy of as within, so without. And what this is saying is that our internal state and the way that we feel and our beliefs and our energy and our vibration is directly impacting how we are experiencing life in our external reality. It's how we are attracting the things in our lives. And money is no different. So if our self-worth and our self-concept is in the gutter and we have all of these negative emotions, we don't trust ourselves, we don't believe in ourselves, we don't value ourselves, that is directly going to be reflected in our external reality, specifically related to money. And this happens outside of money too. Like if you've ever experienced being in a toxic relationship, it's the exact same thing. I've lived through this. You get yourself in a toxic relationship and it's not about the person that you're in a relationship with. It's all about you. What I learned from being in a toxic relationship was that I didn't love myself. I didn't value myself. And the person that I was in a relationship with was just a mirror back to me of how I felt on the inside. It's the exact same thing with money. And this isn't to like judge ourselves and to shame ourselves and feel guilty for whatever our external reality is reflecting back to us. It's just to be aware and notice and to take full ownership for our lives and for how we're showing up and our belief systems. And it's actually empowering because we can shift it. We have the power to shift how we are feeling and the things and the stories that we tell ourselves. We can start shifting it from within, and that's going to change our external reality. Our income will never grow past what our current self-concept, self-identity is. So if you don't see yourself as someone who is capable of generating and holding massive amounts of wealth, it will be impossible for you to create and generate massive amounts of wealth. And maybe you do end up generating massive amounts of wealth, you will end up losing it, you will end up spending it somehow, you will not be able to hold it. You'll somehow unconsciously bring yourself back down to what feels familiar. And so this is part of the work. It's starting to ask yourself, do I see myself as valuable? Do I see my work as valuable? What is my self-concept like? What are the stories I'm telling myself? How am I speaking to myself whenever something goes wrong in my business? Whenever a launch fails? Whenever a client cancels on me, what am I saying to myself when I experience that? Whenever I have an income dip in my business, how am I talking to myself? Do I believe that I'm worthy? Do I believe that I'm capable? Do I believe that I can create more money, that I can create more wealth? Do I believe that I hold the power? Do I feel safe with money? It's all like understanding how we feel our own self-concept, knowing that it is directly tied to money. And so once we realize that money is simply just reflecting our internal world, we can start shifting it. We can start building self-trust. We can start building our self-worth, believing in ourselves. We can start regulating our nervous system. We can start telling ourselves a new story, a new narrative, new beliefs. And as we start shifting our internal reality, our financial reality, the way that money responds to us is also going to change. Healing your relationship with money is a process, and the first step is simply just awareness. And even just understanding that you're in a relationship with money to begin with. A lot of people don't even recognize this. So to wrap up part 1 of this 4-part series, today I want to leave you with 4 journal prompts that you can reflect on, and we're going to build upon these in the next 3 parts of this series. If you check the show notes, I also have a downloadable workbook to make this easy for you. Click that and you will have all 4 of these journal prompts easily fully available for you. So number one is the first question that I asked you when we opened this video. If money were a partner that I was in a relationship with, how would our relationship dynamic be? Reflect on, are you showing up avoidant or anxious, fearful, maybe ungrateful as you relate to money? Reflect on the attachment styles that we talked about in this video and see if you notice that is the way that you are showing up in your current relationship with money. And then after thinking about this and journaling on what your current relationship looks like, think about and reflect on, would our relationship survive? Number two, what are the most common thoughts I have about money on a daily basis? What are the stories that I'm constantly telling myself about money? Do I believe money is hard to make or available for me? What beliefs am I noticing that I'm currently holding about money? Number three, where in my life do I not trust myself, believe in myself, or value myself? And do I notice that showing up anywhere financially? And number four, is there anywhere in my business or in my life where I come up with excuses, maybe blame external circumstances, that I could do some internal reflecting and see that it's coming from within me? Like I said, this is a 4-part series. So after we understand the relationship, we start noticing the patterns, I'm going to start teaching you how to actually shift those patterns. And then week 4, I have a really special breathwork practice planned for you so you can release what's come up these last 3 weeks and start calling in your new wealthiest version of your business and of yourself. I hope you got some valuable insights from this conversation today and started noticing some ways that maybe your relationship might not be the healthiest with money. Drop a comment below. Let me know what you got out of this video and hit subscribe so you don't miss the next parts of this series coming soon. Hope you guys have a great week and I will chat with you all later.